In what ways does your media products use, develop or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? Whilst researching my chosen genre, social realism, I looked at my planning and focus films, which were One Day and Sket. In these film posters, they show narrative conventions of what the film is being based on. I have used the same convention through the narrative of the poster. On my poster, I have three characters looking at Jay, who is the character that the film is being based on. This is shown as the disequilibrium stage of Todorov's theory, as this looks like the climatic stage of the film. Also, whilst analysing the film poster of Sket and One Day, the picture quality was superb and eye-catching to the target audience. I used the same and developed these conventions, as this allowed me to realise I needed a gripping image with clear quality. The convention also consisted of using the main characters of my cast, as this was a convention used on the posters of One Day and Sket. This allowed me to portray my film poster in the same way as them. The genre conventions on my poster are shown through the iconography I have used. The posters of One Day and Sket show the representation of social realism through the mise-en-scène. The costume the characters are wearing are hoodies, bandanas and baseball caps. My characters are also wearing hoodie jumpers and tracksuit bottoms to give the stereotype of working class, as this is a connotation on how they are portrayed to the audience. Also, the fact the character on the Sket poster is holding up a metal rod, I have done the same after looking to see what else is conventional on the social realism poster, and made my characters use a fluorescent light bulb and baseball bat, looking at the main character who is standing in front of them. The institutional conventions I have used are a billing block which I created using a font called Steel Tongs. This is conventional throughout my cross-media package, as I have used it throughout, using the same layout, size and shape. This is also the case for the films I have analysed. I have also used the producer and distributor and institutional logos like Gunslinger and Revolver. I found these from further research into the genre, that this was a conventional feature to use. This also can be seen as a selling point to the audience, as they can see who made the film and gives them past film experiences. In my poster, I used a representation of a stereotype of working class characters, as this seems to be a conventional feature used in social realism films, through the gritty and hard-hitting streets they are brought up in. The camera shots I have used is a long shot. This shows to the audience everything in the scene and is conventional throughout the posters I have analysed. This shows to the audience some narrative on what the film is being based upon and gives them some sort of indication of what could happen. The typography I have used is a sans serif font called Urban Jungle. This is a font that looks modern, gritty and a font that would be used on a social realism film due to the look and texture of it. I have used this throughout my cross-media packages, and again this is a conventional feature used in my focus films One Day and Sket. I also did some wider research and saw for myself that it is conventional for films like Kidulthood. I have challenged the convention on my poster and not added any review quotes like the movie Sket, which I analysed. I used a tagline which said, "Time is money," which also shows me being conventional like the two films I analysed. My tagline is more like a statement compared to the One Day, which gives out narrative facts and figures to the audience, which gives the narrative away. My storyline follows the conventional and representational connotations of a social realism film, as I have shown drugs, violence and gangs, which links back into the working class backgrounds of living in deprived areas. This can also be seen as a convention in other social realism films such as One Day, Sket and Kidulthood. These films show to the audience the extent of what social realism is. Whilst researching conventional narrative conventions in other trailers, I realised that I have used a convention of showing a non-linear narrative. At the start of my trailer, I have used a green screen. This challenges conventions of other social realism trailers I have analysed, as they go straight into the establishing shots, which I do use after the institutional videos. I have used a non-diegetic soundtrack for my trailer, which is quite fast-paced due to the action and the storyline. I have also used a voiceover on the streets of London is hard, but on the gritty so that the audience can follow the narrative of the trailer. This can be seen as a challenge convention, as other social realism films don't have any voiceovers. I have also used a non-diegetic sound effects, which are used in other trailers to add some effect into the scene of what is being shown to the audience. I have used many genre conventions in my trailer, such as props. This shows to the audience what the film is and also what is going to happen in the film. Props I have used are light bulbs, drugs, car and a metal rod. Here I have used the genre convention of a social realism film. As of the films I have analysed,
and also research. For example, in the film Sket, the main character picks up a metal rod to use as a weapon. I've done the same but used a point of view shot of my main character hitting my other main character Jay in the trailer at the end to leave it on a cliffhanger for the audience. The social realism films I have researched, I have noticed the use of sans serif fonts and captions being used throughout the trailer. This helps the audience follow the storyline and helps explain the narrative to the audience of what to expect and gives them ideas on what the film is being based around. In some of the scenes in my trailer, I have added text on the screen, for example, starring Jay Barrett. This shows to the audience who the character on the screen is and they will be able to identify him in the film. I have challenged this convention, as in the trailers I've researched and analysed, they don't use this typography convention.
I have used an establishing shot at the beginning of my trailer to show to the audience where the film is going to be set. I also have a voiceover talking about the narrative.
Drugs, violence and gangs are the number one concern in this city. I needed to get away from it all, but I couldn't. I was given this life.
Which also helps the viewer focus on what is going on in the screen. This is not a convention, as I developed and used from the films One Day and Sket, which I have analysed. I have also used a time-lapse at the beginning of my trailer, which I challenged the conventions of other social realism trailers, as this picks up the pace of the film, and it can also connote to the audience that the city is busy and is going to be action-packed within the narrative. I have also shown long shots, which I have developed to show the audience of what is in the scene. I have used a tripod so all my shots are stationary apart from one of the shots, which I filmed using a dolly, which I pushed around Jay to show to the audience his new surroundings. This was a convention taken from the film Kidulthood. I have also used a close-up shot of Dylan and Adil selling drugs and touching each other's knuckles. This connotes to the audience that they know each other. And I have also used a point-of-view shot of Adil hitting Jay at the end of the trailer. Here the audience can see it from Jay's perspective. The representation of my characters show to the audience that they are from a stereotypical working class background due to the violence and drugs, whereas we have a counter-type character, Simran, who gets robbed for her bag by Jay. This tells the audience that she is weak and vulnerable and isn't a stereotype to the working class. The audience may have a biased opinion on her, as they could see her portrayed as a working class girl who likes to mess around and get involved with the wrong crowd. Conventions for my website show to the audience what roles the characters will be playing in the film. Simran is holding onto Adil's arms, which connote to the audience that the pair are in a relationship and that they are both implicated in important roles leading up to the disequilibrium of the film. Jay, who is the main character of the film, is standing at the front of the picture to show to the audience that he is the most important character. Dylan, who is standing next to Jay but behind him, shows to the audience that he is also against Jay and could be working for Adil, as he is seen as the boss/pimp with the girl. The genre conventions I have used of my characters are different from my poster. This is because the image on my website was taken in a different location to the picture which was taken from my poster. This uses the same conventional features to my website I have analysed One Day and Sket. Here these websites use more than one image on the screen and edited it to show the audience the most important characters on the screen. On the website of One Day, a main cast photograph is used of a medium long shot to show to the audience what the characters are wearing and also what is in the scene with them, including the gun, which connotes to the audience that is going to be used in the film. I have challenged this convention by not showing any props in my website image apart from Jay having the school bag on his back. The Sket website uses two images, and these images show the main characters on who the film is going to be based around. On the left hand side shows a main character in a medium close-up looking at the audience, and on the right hand side shows a long shot which is used of girls standing in a line next to each other looking at the audience. This shows to the audience that the two images have some sort of connection which will link in the film. Behind the image is an establishing shot of the scenery, which gives the audience some indication of where the film is going to be set. I have developed this convention by having an establishing shot in the background with the street lamps lit. The institutional conventions that I have used are the billing block, which isn't conventional for social realism, and also the websites I have analysed One Day and Sket. I have challenged this convention and used it at the bottom of my website, which is the same as my poster with the same institutional features. I have also used and developed the conventional idea of having an iPod on my screen like the One Day website. This is interactive between the viewers and the film and can gain their attention of using something cool which can grab their attention to view the film. This also links in to create a synergy with Apple and the film to gain a wider audience. I have also created a playlist of music that will be played in the film and you can listen to it on the website. I've developed this because the One Day website uses a diamond yellow iPod Nano, whereas my website shows a black iPod Touch. I have also used social networking sites on the website by showing
icons of Blogger, YouTube, Twitter and Facebook. I've also used an Instagram logo. This tells the audience that they can view pictures of the film on their smartphones and get the latest images from behind the scenes. This convention was developed from the website of One Day and Sket, as they have the same social media logos, but I have added in some different ones. The banner at the top of my page, which takes the audience to different pages, is a challenge convention, as I've used a £10 note, and this can also tell the audience that the film is going to be based around money, and can link nicely back to the fact that the title has the layered texture of a £10 note. I've also shown some statistics and figures from Facebook and Twitter on how many people have liked the post and how many people have tweeted about the film. This shows publicity to the audience and is a selling point, as more who like and tweet about the film, the larger the audience will be due to the number of people talking about it. This can be seen as a good viral marketing. The tabs at the top of my page are developed and slightly changed from One Day and Sket, as they have more for the audience to look at. I've kept mine simple, as I didn't want to give too much of the film away to the audience and wanted them to see the narrative through the image and trailer. I've also liked and challenged the convention of the trailer being on the home screen like it is on Sket, but used the convention of having a trailer tab like One Day Video to have the trailer in there so that the trailer doesn't take up the image on the page.